Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Smash that like button. Let's go.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? It is your girl Survivor Speaks, and I'm back with a new a live video. It's your favorite breast cancer survivor. We are going to be talking about or watching the cross-examination of ex-officer Desmond Mills. So we watched a bit of the direct examination. So they're trying to make it like seem as though that he can get a deal, but it's not necessary, or nothing is written in stone for him right now, right? So we're going to take a look at that today. Just to let you know, I have watched none of this. I'm watching it here with you. Shout out to Allie for holding me down last night. I was supposed to just run out. It turned into a whole emergency. I think she did a great job. I was not able to log back in, but shout out to my moderator, Allie, because she did the thing. And love her for that. Shout out to her. Allie. So we're going to get into the cross-examination. The funny thing is, I talked about the prosecutor. So the attorney that is cross-examining Desmond Mills was also the defense attorney, the first attorney that's up. It was also the defense attorney in the Lorenzen Wright case. I talked about that yesterday. He wasn't the attorney of Tyre Wright, who was Lorenzen's ex-wife, but he was the attorney of the deacon that she hired to unalive Lorenzen. And so it's like deja vu. These two have went head to head. This defense attorney is very hot-headed, and he has lost some cases to this prosecutor. So, even though they got to get along, it's like really a battle in the courtroom with them because this is not their first case, and this is not the first case that this defense attorney, I'm pretty sure, he recognizes and realizes already that he will be losing with whichever one of the officers, the defendants, if you will, the ex-officers, the defendants, if you will, he is defending. So in a tense cross-examination, so Desmond Mills, the ex-Memphis cop who admitted to beating Tyre Nichols with his baton, faced brutal questioning from the defense. I hear it was, brutal. And I know with this attorney, it can get brutal. I've heard none of it. So we're going to hear that together. Did Mills intend to cause harm? Of course he did. He said it before he did it. He said it on the stand yesterday. I am going to baton you. In his not Jamaican accent. I didn't hear a Jamaican accent at all. Now, if he comes today with this Jamaican accent, or now he has this strong Jamaican accent, that means that they spoke to him and say, listen, put your Jamaican, or not that it makes much sense in this case, right? They all look alike. So, was this protocol, or was this police brutality? It was straight up police brutality. And even, I'm going to say, probably I don't, it's not, I'm not even going to say that. After listening to his testimony, what I am going to say is that he did play a minimal role. He did not know, according to what we looked at yesterday. Y'all sound off in the comments. According to what we looked at yesterday, he did not know what was going on. But there is still a standard of duty in law enforcement that you have taken training. And not only have you had training in law enforcement, you were also a correctional officer. So there is a standard of conduct that you must abide by. And you went against that. So it's 15 years enough for him, and for them to even be mentioning supervised release. Y'all, that does not make sense to me. Okay? Does not. But anyhow. So in this video, we are going to see the cross-examination, the defensive strategy, which way they are going, how they're going to challenge Mills's credibility, and what it means for the other officers on trial. So we're going to, I'm not going to cover the full trial, like I said. I just happen to have some time today, and I picked my daughter, but we got some time in between. So we're going to continue to also honor Tyre Nichols. We're going to continue to say his name over here. It's justice for Tyre Nichols. Even someone that's committing a crime does not, their arrest should not end in an unaliving unless they pose a serious threat. And it just happens that way. Even if they pose a serious threat, them being no longer on this earth at the hands of others should not be a thing. It is just not something that should happen, especially when you have all of these, you see these big, burly police officers, plus the one on the stand, regardless as to how he was over there choking with the with the mace that he sprayed in his own eyes. We don't care. All right. We're going to continue to honor Tyre Nichols. I'm going to continue to, say his name, justice for Tyre Nichols, honor his memory while dissecting the critical moment in the pursuit of injustice. I'm not going to say in the pursuit of justice. Let me see who was in the house. Shout out to the people watching over there on the Twitter. I wish you guys would come on over and hit the like button for me. You can go back over to Twitter, but that would be great if you could do that. Shout out to my Allie for holding it down yesterday. What up, Allie? What up? What up with you and Ollie? What up, sis? Love to see you here. I was about to say, let me send her. I ain't gotta do it. You up in the building. All right, y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like button for me, even if you have to run out. If you're watching from the bushes, go on ahead and hit that like button for us. It doesn't tell me who liked the video. It does not. You can hit the thumbs down. It's for the engagement. It doesn't tell me either way who likes or who doesn't like. But it's for the engagement. If you like the show, you can always join the membership here. I think I turned my name off. Hold on a minute. Where is it? Come on now, girl. What are you doing? I'll fix that later. So if you like the show, you can always join. You can become a member of whatever it is. And don't forget that this Saturday, we are going to have the happily angry attorney on. He is the co-counsel of Moontooth and the YSL trial. This will be the second time that he comes and hangs out on Survivor Speaks channel. He points him the Clapback King. Well, I've called points him the Clapback King on Twitter. Make sure you're following the happily angry lawyer. Gotcha. No problem at all. Make sure you found the Happily Angry Lawyer on Twitter. That's where he does a lot of his clapping back at. But be sure to follow him now on YouTube. He's over here on YouTube. Make sure, Ali, if you have that link for the Happily Angry Lawyer, drop that in the chat for us. Make sure you're following Cat Williams over there. Also, great content creator, true crime content creator. And follow Flesh of the Gods. He's the most interactive YouTube channel here on YouTube. You can follow him also. He has the awards they're still going on. Nomination for the awards. If you like, you can nominate people. I think that's where he's at with it. I think he should put a whole show together and put it out there that this is going to be the night that we're going to actually have the show. Come on, everybody that was nominated, come on over. Everybody, come on over. I think it would be a big thing. Shout out to Don. Don, he's never here in the chat. Go follow him and over there to his channel and be in La La Land, because that's what's going to happen to you when you go over here to his channel. Always feel like we are in La La Land. So Don, Ali was holding down the show for me yesterday. This case is about Tyre Nichols. He was unalived by police officers, and they were attempting to make an arrest in 2023. They are now on trial. The fathead guy that's on the stand, Desmond Mills, is one of the police officers that was on the scene that night. He flipped, and he is testifying and telling what happened. We're going to watch the cross-examination of that today. But listening to his story is he testified a little bit, because I was just like, ain't no way. And did he spray himself in the face with knife? From the looks of it, he may have. Did one of them other officers spray him? Was he trying to see? Because he said he sprayed him twice and it didn't work. Did he spray and it didn't work? So he turned it around and sprayed himself? That's your fault. Why are you getting mad at this young man? And you're I'm gonna baton you. And I struck him 3 times on the arm. I don't believe he struck him on the arm. I don't know if that was clear in the video they showed us yesterday. Survivor Speaks does not believe that you struck him on the arm, sir. We need a clear shot to see you specifically striking him with your baton after I'm going to strike you on the arm, because you couldn't see. You was Helen Keller at the time. Helen Keller, I can't. So, anywho, let's go ahead and bring the video up. Shout out to Mook Marv Inc. for the music playing behind me now. I'm just going to be behind the music, the video as well, but I'm going to turn it down. It's a Survivor Speaks track. The name of the track is Beyond the Chemo Room, but then it's also a track that's Behind Never Fall. My nephew rapped to that beat. He has a song out to it. I put it out. It's here on YouTube. So thank you so much. Please smash that like button, y'all. Let me bring the video over. Let's get started. We're going to watch it on about 1.5, because yesterday we was on 1.5, and the prosecutor and Desmond, they was still, it was like, what's going on here? Still. So let me just get this all the way we should, the way it should be. Thank you so much. There we go. And let's get this started. So that is the judge. As I stated, the first attorney that is up, the defense attorney, he was a defense attorney in the Lorenzen Wright case as well. And I was like, oh, whoa, deja vu. All over again. These two, the prosecutor and him, are, up at each other again. And this defense attorney, I don't know how many, I'm going to have to look him up and see how many cases he's lost to this prosecutor, because I already know you lost this one. But they deserve the defense. But in Tyre Nichols' defense, he did not deserve to be. He was a father. He was a human. He was a son, uncle. It was hard to listen to, even though I wasn't on here, physically. Allie held me down. I was listening. So let's see what they do on 1.5. If it's slow today, I'm going to move it up a notch. And then if it's too fast, we'll move it back down. All right, let's go.
Are you ready with your comment? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Nichols, my name is John Tyre. I want to ask you some questions after Gary speaks.
Mr. Perry.
Dean was in your car on the night of January 7th, 2023, correct?
Yes.
Did you always drive as a two-man team?
Sometimes.
And that wasn't anything that was out of the norm, in other words, that evening, right?
No.
Right. And that night, you all had started out like any other night on Flicker Street. Is that where y'all were coming from?
Yes.
All right. And do you remember what time you met for a roll call that evening?
I don't remember time it should start.
Okay. If I said 6 o'clock, would that be out of the norm?
Oh, Allie said she'll be right back.
Okay. And do you remember what you did after you left roll call?
No.
Do you remember talking with Ed Martin regarding any sort of plans to detain anybody that evening?
No.
Did you have any discussions with any members of your team regarding any sort of plans to do anything to punish anybody during that evening?
No.
Were there any conversations regarding the fact that you wanted to take somebody hostage or take somebody privileged to be free away from them that evening?
No.
So you drove in the car that evening with Mr. Bean. While you all were driving from Flicker to the Kirby Meadows area is where I think you all stopped the car eventually.
Yes.
All right, but prior to then, do you remember if y'all got coffee or anything like that?
I can't remember.
All right, and it's been 2 years ago, so, or more than 2 years ago now, right? Close to 2 years ago, at least 2 years ago. And you don't remember some of the details, but do you remember whether or not when you had the other person in custody, there was any sort of incident similar to what was going on during the 8:30 hour that evening? Were you having an incident with somebody that wouldn't put the hands behind their back?
I think I don't remember.
Was there any, did you deploy your aspeton that evening prior to coming into contact with the suspect that you would eventually come to know as Tyre Nichols?
No.
Did you have any plans to necessarily deploy your aspeton and hit anybody prior to 8:30 when you were in contact with Mr. Tyre Nichols?
Aspeton.
But you had your aspeton with you, right?
Yes.
Was that a part of your normal equipment that you would have with you when you were out in the field?
Yes.
And I think pursuant to MPD policy, you have to have specific written permission to use an aspeton, right?
No.
Not immediately prior to, but I think you have to have, and we'll go through some of the policy on that, but if you don't remember at the time, you were certified to carry your aspeton though, right?
Yes.
Were you post-certified as an officer?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, was Mr. Bean a proper officer to be in your vehicle during that evening?
Yes.
And prior to that evening, you said that you, and this was not the first time you've been on a two-man team with Mr. Bean?
No, not the first.
And I think previously when we had a conversation at the trial, you indicated that you never had any issues with Mr. Bean riding in your vehicle, right?
Correct.
And you said Mr. Bean you knew to be just a proper officer, right? Never had any concerns in your different statements, ISB, with your statements with what we call 302s, your statements with the FBI, statements with the Department of Justice. Never had an issue with Jadarius Bean, right?
Right.
Right. Now, you, on that particular evening, it wasn't a day like today. In other words, was it a little bit colder or a little bit warmer? Now, we're not talking about this room. I know I'm a little bit warmer in this room. But was it a little bit colder January 7th, 2023?
Yes.
Well, if I say it was about 45 degrees at 6:30, is that about right?
I don't know whether.
Had it been raining any, to your knowledge, during that evening?
I can't recall.
Do you recall any conditions at all during that evening that you can tell us about?
Cold.
It was cold. A little bit different than it was during April of 2025, right?
Right.
Right. And during that particular evening, it was, you said that you were at a location, you weren't specific about where that location was. Mr. Hagerman asked you, was it in East Memphis? Do you remember now that it would have been close to Kirby Parkway, that area? Does that ring a bell to you?
If Kirby is with CBS and there's a farmer's market over that area.
Okay.
I think that's Kirby.
Now, you don't currently live in this area, right? You moved.
Correct.
All right. Okay. And back then, though, you were a resident of this area?
Yes.
And you worked for MPD, right?
Yes.
And you described that you were assigned to the Scorpion unit, right?
Right.
Now, you said it was during COVID, and if it was during the year 2020, was it called Scorpion or was it called the Cat Team?
CAT team.
And what does the CAT acronym stand for? Do you know?
I think it was Criminal Apprehension Team.
Criminal Apprehension Team. And then in 2021, did the name change to Scorpion Unit?
Yes.
And that was kind of the brainchild of Chief Davis, right?
Yes.
During that time, and I think with ISB and some of your 302s, you indicated that there was a, you were getting accolades for the work that y'all were doing, right? That's the Scorpion Unit, correct?
Yes.
And they were telling you how you were going, that criminal suppression was working, right?
Yes.
You were told about the decline in murders and things like that.
Yes.
And there were meetings where people would kind of rah-rah type meetings. Y'all go ahead, y'all get out there, do your job. That type of stuff going on, correct?
Yes.
And that was from the higher ups, right?
Yes, it was their meeting.
That was, and you all were present though when they told you, basically giving you slaps on the back about how successful the Scorpion Unit was, right?
Yes.
And when you were part of that during that particular time, prior to January 7th, 2023, did you have any problems with the fact that there was success?
Did I have problems?
I'm gonna ask about your problems in a second. Let me ask you this way: did you met with Christian prior?
In 2023?
Yes.
No.
Who was Forrest Christian?
I told y'all this attorney is disrespectful, and I must say while it's on my mind because I was meaning to say this yesterday in Memphis. I want to know why y'all got them testifying from the couch, the green couch. That's all I want to ask Memphis. Why do they testify from the couch? He looked like he up there, and they asked him, "What you want to drink, sir? Would you like a beer? Mixed drink, brown liqueur." I said liqueur. Yeah, this couch got me feeling a little sleep. I want to lay down and go to sleep. Looking at this guy on the couch. I guess they want the witness to feel comfortable. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. The couch thing got my mind going. It's just, and I want to say in the other case, I think the couch was a little smaller. So, okay.
Federal prosecution DOJ.
Right. Now, between January 7th and 2023, in September, you met with DOJ a number of times, right?
Couch got me confused.
Now, that would not have been immediately after this January 7th, 2023 8:30 incident, though, correct? Let me ask you in a better way. January 7th, 2023, incident happens. After the incident, you said previously that you and Darius Bean went to St. Francis Hospital, right?
Right.
You had a suspect in custody at St. Francis Hospital, right?
Right.
And you stayed there until you were relieved from St. Francis Hospital that evening, correct?
Morning.
Don't let them fool
Right,
you.
early morning.
Don't let them fool you, fathead.
Correct. You remember what officer relieved you that evening? That early morning, rather.
I want to say Matthew.
Okay. And was that a member of your team also?
Yes.
And your team is, the Scorpion Unit is broken into 3 different teams.
What is going on?
And you were part of team 1, right?
Yes.
And I know you put some of this out. Remember, you don't remember your call number, correct?
Yeah, I don't remember.
All right, but I'm going to ask you to go back in some of this to replay, just so you can give attention to the jury about what was going on. After that evening, when you got back for early morning hours, were you asking questions from anyone?
Yes.
Who asked you
That
questions?
is a couch alley. Look,
TBI was there.
it's right here.
The security squad, that's internal
That
affairs,
is
they
a
were there in the
couch.
office. And
It ends. I can't point to it.
Had they been there on other incidents prior to
A
that,
couch.
to talk to you?
no.
All right. And at that particular
Look,
time,
that's
it made
another chair in
1,000
front of it.
arrests, right?
I see why you think it's a chair. That's a couch.
And you said repeatedly, ISB, DOJ, FBI, TBI, that this was the most difficult arrest that you had ever had. True?
Yes.
And
lied.
you also said that you don't remember an arrest fee resisting that difficult. Correct?
He lied.
Not that way. I said it.
A few minutes ago, you were talking about you sprayed twice, right?
I sprayed 3 times.
Right, I'm saying, but I'm talking about on the second time, when Mr. Hagerman asked you, when you said you sprayed once and you sprayed twice, you said it wasn't working. Correct?
Yes.
Now, when you say spray was not working, you mean it was not working on Mr. Nichols. He was not giving his hands. Correct?
Yes.
And you've been sprayed before, right?
Hey, from the
Sprayed on that night, right?
Yes.
You were sprayed in the academy, correct?
Yes.
When you were sprayed, did it hurt?
Yes.
And in the concept of pain compliance on the use of force continuum, we'll go to that in a moment. Spray, in your mind, should work, right?
Yes.
But it was not working that night. Yes or no?
Right.
All right. So you then indicate that you get back,
I don't
you got different
believe
people
that.
there asking you questions, right?
You got ask the question about why I get back?
No. When you got back,
Yeah.
people asked you questions about what happened.
Oh, okay, yes.
All right. But at that particular point, you had not met anybody from DOJ, right?
Correct.
And you had not been told anything about what type of time you were facing with DOJ, right?
Right.
You, at that particular point in time,
Okay,
did not
Alex.
ask anything about participating at trial against Darius Bean, correct?
Correct.
You were not asked anything at that particular point in time about anything to do with testifying against Desmond Smith, Regis Haley, at trial, right?
Right.
You weren't told at the point that you were giving statements to ISB about what happened, any information whatsoever about the possibility of facing life in prison, correct?
Right.
And at the time that you were giving your statement to ISB, you had met 9 different times with DOJ, with your story changing, right?
I don't know how many times I met with them before ISB.
Right. But you can see the fact, and you can see that at trial previously, your story changed detail-wise over the period of time from January 7th, 2023 until February
course.
2023. Again, in
Yes.
August, when you start meeting more with DOJ, right?
No.
You're saying that it didn't change.
I'm saying,
Now you got to talk up. I asked you a question.
repeat the question.
Your story progressively changed. When you met with ISB, you had 0 complaints against Darius Bean about whatever he did that evening, correct?
Correct.
And you had no complaints about the fact that he stayed in the fight with Tyre Nichols that night when you were talking with ISB, did you?
Correct.
And in fact, during that evening, when you were talking with ISB, you had seen your body worn camera, had you not?
No.
Now, earlier, Mr. Hageman asked you about whether or not you saw the poll cam. Your answer was you didn't know it until you got back, right?
To the office.
Right. Now, you can't speak for Darius Bean whether or not he noticed the poll cam, correct?
Correct.
In fact, when you got out of the vehicle, you had to go back because, as you stated, you failed to lock it, right?
Yes.
And Darius Bean had already got to and apprehended Tyre Nichols that evening, right? By the time you got there.
Right.
He had a head start, right?
Yes.
You're in the vehicle, you had to put it in park, correct?
Yes.
And he gets there to Mr. Nichols prior to you getting there. Am I right?
Correct.
And at the time that he got there, you can't testify as to what he saw or noticed in that area. Am I clear?
Correct.
And that's true, right?
Right.
And you wouldn't have any information regarding whether or not Darius Bean indicated, I know that there's a light in there, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, at some point, you went from ISB to talking with the U.S. Attorney's Office, and you had made a decision that you were going to cooperate and change your plea, right?
Right.
You remember the date on it?
We're using some acronyms. I just want to make sure that we're clear. What is the ISB and
I
Yeah.
apologize.
Thank you.
Do you know what
Good
ISB
job.
I'll ask you another question. Then. You know what ISB is?
Internal affairs.
And technically, it's Inspectional Services Bureau, but it's what?
Internal affairs.
Okay.
Internal
And so you
affairs.
talk with Internal Affairs a day or 2 later as far as the formal recorded statement, right?
Yes. I remember when, but I did talk to him after.
But that was after you had already talked with TBI and ISB the early morning hours of January 8th, 2023, correct?
Yes.
And at that point, there were no charges filed against you, right?
Right.
And you were not given an option of saying that you're going to continue in your story with ISB versus changing your plea of guilty away from the life possibilities that you were facing, right?
All right.
All right. And so you were handed a copy of a memorandum of understanding. Remember that earlier today?
Yes.
Now approach on.
you can just reference what exhibit it is.
And that's Exhibit 4. What's the date on that exhibit?
I don't see a date.
And that exhibit is written by, or at least signed by yourself, right?
Right.
Your lawyer, correct?
Correct.
And by Mr. Hagerman, right?
No, it says Morrow.
Mulroy. So you know who Mr. Mulroy is?
Yes.
Who is he?
District attorney.
The district attorney, right?
Yes.
Big guy. And it's signed, right?
Yes.
2 lawyers and yourself signed it, but it's undated, right?
All right.
Okay. Can you tell this jury when you decided to sign that?
No date. I can't tell.
Okay. But at that point, you were cooperating with the Department of Justice, correct?
Correct.
And basically, that agreement says whatever happens with the Department of Justice over here is going to run with that, right?
Yes.
So in other words, if the Department of Justice says, Your Honor, we feel like the time should be, it's up to 15 years that you're facing right now, right?
Right.
But if the incentive is sweetened by the fact that you're here, it could be, as he stated earlier, probation, right?
Right.
Based on your testimony, correct?
Correct.
Now, it's based on your truthful testimony, as he stated, right?
Yes.
But this is a truth that is different from your initial truth, right?
Can you word that?
Yeah, it is considerably different than your Inspectional Services Bureau truth. Am I right?
Correct.
All right. Let's go down some of that Inspectional Services Bureau. Now get that topic. Before I get into that, you're not from here, right?
Right.
I just need to make sure you keep your voice loud so that you're responsible.
Okay, yes, sir.
Not from the Memphis area. During the days after this particular incident, there was a lot of things going on that affect you personally, right?
Right.
You got people in your yard protesting you, right?
Right.
You got people with a bullhorn talking about go home and all that type of stuff. Am I right?
Right.
Oh,
And
God.
that is after you gave this ISB statement, correct?
I believe so.
Right. That is after your story changed, in other words.
I don't think that happened when the charges came.
Correct. And I might have asked it in a bad way. Your ISB statement is the night of, right?
No,
Okay. I thought you talked to them verbally when you got back from the hospital.
I did, but there was no statement taken.
Right. I'm not trying to, there's no trap. That night would have been January 7th. It's the night of the incident. January 8th, because time changes over to the next day, midnight, you get back to Flickr around 2 or 3 in the morning, right?
Right.
And you said earlier, TBI, ISB, and other people are there, correct?
Correct.
Who is TBI? Just for the sake of the record, do you know?
Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
All right. And they took over the investigation, correct?
Yes.
Because it involved MPD, Memphis Police Department, right?
Because Ms. Nichols was critical, they took over.
I got you. But that would be what you would expect. If it was a shooting and he's critical, would TBI be involved to your expectation based off of your training?
Yes, I believe so.
Right. So they're there, and because of the incident that took place, that's not something out of the ordinary, in other words. Right?
Right.
All right. So we're January 8th. Now I have this document is dated. It has January 11th, 2023. Does that sound fair? 2 or 3 days later?
Yes.
That you're talking with ISB, right?
Yes.
And at the time that you talked to ISB, you're the same Desmond that's out there putting his life on the line every night, right?
Right.
And other than maybe I think your job status had been relieved at that time, temporary relief, I believe. Am I correct?
I think you just relieve the duty.
You relieved the duty because of the same incident, though.
Yes.
Not because of anything outside of that, right?
Right.
And you went to give a statement to ISB, right?
Yes.
And so if it's an internal Inspectional Services Bureau statement, even though you're relieved of duty, you're still an employee. Am I right?
Yes.
All right. And so you give this statement at that particular point in time. Let me be clear. The protesting in your yard and all that stuff wouldn't be for another week or so, or 2 weeks, right? But it happened.
I don't know when it happened, but it happened.
It happened after this, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right.
That is.
You were asked certain questions, and I'm just going to ask you a few of the questions right now. But you said that you put on your body-worn camera, right?
Yes.
Now, when you had your body-worn camera on, is that a part of what you're supposed to do as an MPD officer?
Yes.
Under the regulations that you have, you normally would turn it on if you get involved in any sort of interaction with a
Isn't
criminal
it supposed
suspect.
to
Is that
come
true?
on?
Yes.
Does it cut on automatically?
That's what I
If you're in a SWAT car with the light system, it will.
Okay. When you get out of the squad car, if you're running after someone, does it cut on?
No.
All right. And in this particular incident, did you cut your body-worn camera on?
Yes, I did.
Did you take it off and throw it in the car or whatever, like you saw Mr. Martin do? I think it was the question. Did you take yours off and throw it down as you were trying to interact with Mr. Nichols?
No.
Now, you were shown video based off of 2 different body-worn cameras, yours and I believe Mr. Bean's, correct?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, first-hand knowledge, did it appear that Mr. Bean would have thrown his off at any point?
No.
Now, you saw that during the interaction with Mr. Nichols, it appeared to have been knocked off. Is that true?
Yes.
But that's somewhat different than a person taking it and tossing it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at the time prior to you going to this incident, you said you had a person in the car, right?
Yes.
And to be clear, and that's consistent with your ISB statement, you had a person in the car, and you hear a call out that a person had been tased, pepper sprayed, and was fleeing, right?
Yes.
And based on that, you said, well, I'm gonna release this gentleman, right?
Yes.
And I'm gonna drive, and if you're at Kirby Parkway, I calculated it at 2 miles to the Rawson Range. Is that pretty fair?
Yeah.
All right. So you get there, the Rawson Range, And when you arrived, you found out, or you started looking for for the suspect?
Yes.
Now, at that point, did you have any idea whatsoever about who that suspect was?
Only thing I knew was he resists, pepper sprayed, and his taste.
All right. So there wasn't any conversations regarding the fact that this man was supposed to have been dating somebody's girlfriend, anything like that, right?
No, I didn't hear none of that.
And anything regarding that would be inaccurate, correct?
To my knowledge.
All right. There was not, Mr. Bean didn't say, hey, let's go get Mr. Nichols. Anything like that, did he?
No.
All right. And to your knowledge, when they talked about this, when this call out came out regarding a person who's in that area, did you or Mr. Bean have any conversation about who you thought it might be, or who it was, or what that person might have been doing?
No.
You drove to the area, right?
Yes.
And the first time that you had seen Mr. Nichols of any sort of thing that would register in your mind, in other words, I'm not asking if you might have been to the same restaurant before or anything like that, but was there any reason to have a registration in your mind about who the person was walking?
The description that was given.
From the description, right?
Yes.
And you didn't give the description, right?
Right.
And Tadarius Bean did not give that description, correct?
Correct.
Did you all have any first-hand knowledge about what happened on that first scene?
No.
So, on the video at 8:32 approximately, you see the suspect, right? Or at some point, I guess I don't want to, I'm not putting words in your mouth about the exact time, but at some point you see the suspect, right?
Right.
And it appeared that at that same time that at least Mr. Bean would roll down his window, right?
Right.
And he asked the suspect a question, correct? Or did he get any words out at all?
I think we both said, hey.
When you said, hey, what happened?
Mr. Nichols took off running.
Okay. Now, in your prior testimony, with your 302s, with DOJ as well, and with ISB, do you have any criticisms of Mr. Bean getting out of the car at that point and chasing the suspect?
No.
In fact, if you see the person and you see him turn and start running, if Mr. Bean says, I'm not getting out and chasing him, that would be a problem, right?
Yes, could be.
It could be. That's not doing your job the way that you're understanding the job is supposed to be done, in other words, right?
Right.
Okay. So he runs and he eventually catches up to the suspect, right?
Right.
Now, there was one thing that changed from ISB, and I think at the last trial, and I can pull it up and show you, but you were clear, and you weren't asked this question here today, but you were clear about the fact that once it was slowed, the video was slowed down, that was the first time you'd seen it, kind of in slow motion, right?
Yes. Last time with you, right?
Right. And I asked you, at that time, did it appear when it was running slow motion, whether or not it appeared that they were slapping at Mr. Nichols' hands, or wrist area? Remember that?
I think I do. I remember you slowed it down. I watched it, and it looked like he did not punch him.
Okay.
And that's what I remember.
And when you saw it, and that hasn't changed today. In other words, you've never seen Tadarius Bean punch this man in the face or hit him in the face at all, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's yes. My question is right because we got to have a transcript.
Oh.
In other words, that the answer to that question is that he did not hit him in the face, head, or any areas like that. Am I correct?
Yes. Once you slowed the video down, I was able to determine that.
Okay. Now, if a person is on the ground and suspect reaches up towards their vest or towards their gun or towards the hand of the other officer, that can be dangerous. Can it not?
Yes.
All right. And it's clear that can be dangerous. That if a person's hand becomes as a suspect, when you're saying give us your hands, and instead of turning over on the back and putting the hand behind the back as a suspect, he poses danger to those officers. Correct?
If he's not in that position.
If he's not where the handcuffs can go on.
Correct.
All right. Now, eventually, you said this before, that once the handcuffs go on, then the incident stops, right?
Yes.
And in this particular, the videos that you saw earlier, and they were kind of fast, but it appeared that once the handcuffs click on Mr. Nichols, all contact with Mr. Nichols seemed to stop, other than to pick him up. Now, Mr. Hagerman says drag him to the vehicle, right?
I know he said drag, but.
Okay. But he placed him on the vehicle, right?
Yes.
And it appeared that it was Mr. Bean and Mr. Smith that
Come
placed him on
on,
the vehicle,
son.
right? Right. But they never did punch, kick, hit, or anything like that, right?
While on the vehicle.
While he's on the vehicle, while his hands are not cuffed. Or while his hands are cuffed, rather. You never saw him get struck when the hands were cuffed at all.
Correct.
All right.
Come on now. Yeah, come on, dude.
You talked previously about how something can
Really?
look excessive, but it really just be ineffective, right? Was your spray effective?
No.
All right. So your spray was ineffective. You sprayed it 3 times, right?
Yes.
Okay. And when you're spraying, that spray goes into that whole area, right?
Yes.
And so simultaneously with you spraying, Tadarius Bean is in the radius of that spray, right?
Yes.
But when you sprayed him, and to be fair, you're a little bit bigger than Mr. Bean, right?
Yes.
Mr. Bean's hands are on the suspect at that time, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Bean had just been on a dead sprint. Was he jogging to Mr. Nichols?
No, he ran.
He's on a dead sprint. Does that equipment weigh a pretty good deal of weight?
Yes.
I say 30, 40 pounds. Is that about right? All the equipment included?
Yes.
So he gets out at night, runs towards Mr. Nichols. And according to you, Mr. Nichols does not at any point comply with the request for hands, right?
Right.
And although there was a discourse at the previous trial, but it wasn't as much here, but I want to be clear. Your use of the word fighting does not necessarily mean, hey, Mr. Nichols got up and started swinging and ducking and all that, right?
Right.
Your use of the term fighting is fighting, resisting. Co-exchangeable words in Memphis police lingo, right?
Yes.
And so at that point, he's still fighting. He's sprayed, and he is still trying to be hands-on with it, correct? And when I say he, I mean Tadarius Bean gets sprayed by the spray that you're spraying in that area, right?
You're right.
And he's still holding on to this suspect. Am I right?
Right.
Now, while he's holding on to the suspect, you are panting and can't catch your breath right. True or false?
True.
All right. And you said that you were aggravated, right?
Right.
Right. Now, did you at any point look at Tadarius and say, hey, I'm going to hit his ass with this baton because I'm mad?
No.
In fact, if you were wanting to do the most damage with the baton, would you hit him in the head or would you hit him like you were trained in the academy on his arms?
To do the most damage
To do the most harm to Mr. Nichols. Where would you hit him at?
in the head.
Right. Now, both Mr. Smith and Mr. Bean gave you a clear shot to the arms, right?
Yes.
You said clear, as a matter of fact, right?
No, I didn't say clear.
You didn't say clear or get up?
I think I said move or get away. No.
Okay. And then you said, I'm going to baton the fuck out of you to Mr. Tyre Nichols, right?
Right.
Now, in the academy, they teach you a concept called verbal judo, right?
Right.
You are supposed to use language different than when you're deacon out on Hands Cross, right?
Not a big deal.
You never been, well, church out on Hands Cross, according to your stuff before, right? All right.
Let me speak up.
Okay. Yeah. No,
In other words, you wouldn't tell anybody in Sunday school. I wouldn't tell anybody in Sunday school. Let's fair conversation. I'm trying to fuck at you, right?
Right.
So, but when you're out there in that type of environment with a person who's fighting with you, verbal judo is not something that's odd, right?
Correct.
Because had you said, I'm gonna baton the fuck out of you, and had Mr. Nichols at that point said, just arrest me, just put my hands in cuffs, do you think, based on the atmosphere at the time, that you had the ability to stop yourself from batoning him?
Yes.
Okay. So even though you're angry and agitated, had the hands been given, I give up, put my hands behind my back, you had the ability to stop it. And I think based on each of these statements before, you would have, right?
That didn't happen though.
I know it didn't happen. If it would have happened, could you have stopped yourself? Yes or no?
If I would have said I'm gonna F baton you and he would have put his hands behind the back, it would have stopped.
Right. That's all I'm saying. But the only person who knows what your frame of mind is at that point is who?
Me?
Right. So there's no conversations about I'm mad versus the fact that I'm using the use of force continuum and applying force as I have been trained. Mr. Bean does not have that conversation with you, correct?
No conversation.
All right. Mr. Bean didn't say, hey, instead of hitting him on the arm 3 times, like you're trained and like you're supposed to, hit him in the head. Did he say that?
No.
All right. In fact, he cleared so you could have a clear shot to the arms, correct?
Correct.
And you hit him 3 times. Is there a reason why you hit him 3 times and then put the baton back together?
I was finished with the baton.
I understand that. But is there a key to it being 3 times versus 10?
No key to it.
Is there training regarding how many times you're supposed to use a baton in that situation?
I believe it said maximum force. So I think maximum force would be 1 blow, 1 strike.
Who told you that?
I believe that's what's in the training. It's been a while.
Was that something you developed once you were talking with DOJ?
No.
Did your understanding of how to use the baton change when you're talking with DOJ?
No.
You seem to have had some training because you flipped it out there. Spot on, right?
Yeah. We can.
And maximum force, right?
Right.
I'm gonna let you look through this. May I approach you, sir? You know what that is?
I'm aggravated, y'all.
Policy?
Have you ever seen that before?
Yes.
And in order to use the aspeton, are you supposed to be familiar with that policy?
Yes.
You want to look through that policy? Just look through it for a minute.
Oh, Allie, I see what you're saying. I did not see the chair, so it is the backing. Got it. Got it. And I'm going to go ahead and add some commentary here. And then somebody's like, "Oh, stop interrupting." Listen, I can't. Now if I'm streaming the video, it's one thing, but we cannot just play a video straight through without commentary. So if the person they went on another video, so I don't know if they're going to come under this video. We can't just play it straight through. It has to be commentary in the middle. So just a little education for people that don't have, create content. You can't just play a video straight through. We have to get commentary. But Ali, I see what you're saying now. I did not see the wooden small chair until he just moved. Got it. I thought that was like a lounge chair he was sitting on. I missed that whole thing. Y'all knew. And I took over yesterday, and they hadn't shown that part when I had to leave. But anyway, I think this attorney is doing a good job with kind of like turning his testimony around, like to make it look like they just did their job. And basically what happened to Mr. Nichols was well deserved. I'm not buying this bullshit, snizzle. They was mad because he got away. That's just it. You don't make a cop run, he on tape, all out of breath. Give me the water bottle. I need the water bottle. He didn't say that. That's me paraphrasing. They were upset. And Mr. Nichols was going to pay, and he paid dearly and paid with his life. So I think this is hogwash, gibberish, and bull crap. But nonetheless, it is what the freak it is. Let's just see, because the way he's putting things and the way that this I guess star witness is now responding, it's like questionable. So of course he's going to say that he is one of the star witnesses. I'm not, and they basically told him what to say when he got, gets on the stand, to incriminate. So Mr. B must be his client. All right, y'all, let's go. Here we go. He's not doing too well.
Got a chance to go through it?
The whole thing?
I mean, just looking through it. I want to, in other words, ambush you some questions that you hadn't had a chance to look at. And it's only a 20-page policy. Now, is that the policy that they show you all, like in an 8-hour class you have to take for the use of the aspartame?
Yes.
And is it like on a projector and they talk to you about the policy?
Yes.
Okay. And is it the suggestion or recommendation that you use it more than 3 times on the suspect?
It doesn't give it was never said.
No set time, right?
Correct.
So you administered 3 strikes, right?
Yeah.
And you administered 3 strikes under your understanding of that policy. Is there anything that I have changed about what I just handed you in the booklet? That's the reason I wanted to look at it as well. See if there's anything that's in there that, hey, this is John Perry handiwork or something.
I wouldn't know what original copy, so.
Okay, that's fair. Is that? I'll tell you.
If you just caught joining in, you may have to run. Please hit the like button for engagement. Doesn't show me if you hit the like button or not, or you can hit the thumbs down.
Are you familiar with the policy? This was handed to us through the discovery process. Does it look like anything different than what you've seen in the past?
No.
And it seems to be consistent, right?
Right.
Does it suggest that you hit him upside the head with the aspartame?
No.
Why does it not say that you should hit this person upside the head with an aspartame?
Just all it said that'd be deadly force.
It talks about the fact that it's not intended to cause, to inflict intense temporary, it is intended rather to inflict intense temporary disabling pain, right?
Okay.
No, it's not okay. I'm saying, is that your understanding of what it's meant to do?
Yes.
And it's to do that, is that a part of what you understand as pain compliance?
Yes.
And by pain compliance, are you just picking people off the street and saying, hey, I'm gonna use my aspartame on you?
No.
This is after you have created a presence, right?
Yes.
On that particular evening, it was after you saw verbal commands, correct?
Correct.
It was after you had deployed a chemical agent, correct?
Back.
Correct.
Now, these steps are going relatively fast, right?
Hey, I'm back.
Yes.
Based on your understanding of situations that can go on, life or death on the streets that you're doing as a member of a CAT team, or at this time, Scorpion Unit can change from dangerous to deadly in a split second, right?
Yes.
You've been shot at, right?
Yes.
You've been in shootouts, right?
No.
You haven't been in a shootout, but you're shot at.
Yes.
Okay. And that, I would guess, is a dangerous situation, right?
Yes.
This particular situation, you didn't pull your firearm, did you?
No.
You did not at any point in time order anybody else to pull a firearm, did you?
No.
In fact, no firearms were pulled at all, correct?
Not to my knowledge.
It says maximum force eliminates the need for multiple strikes, decreases the need to escalate in force, and it shortens the time span of the confrontation. Can you tell me your understanding of that?
Hit as hard as you can. First time.
Because it's expected to.
Make the person stop.
All right. Now, you hit him as hard as you could, right?
No.
But you hit him, right?
Yes.
And that's interesting. You didn't hit him as hard as you could, correct?
Correct.
You used it and then you put it up, right?
Right.
So you weren't trying to kill it, right?
Right.
And nobody out there was saying that we should try to kill this guy, right?
Right.
In fact, unlike if it was a shooting, the person that shot at you, if it hit you, could kill you, right?
Right.
No questions asked. He could have. I'm not saying he hit him, but he could have killed you, right?
Right.
So in other words, what you were using at that particular point in time was not deadly force, was it?
Nope.
Yes, speak up.
No, it was not.
All right, did you hit the downward 45-degree angle?
Did I hit him at a 45-degree angle?
Right.
What do you mean that swing at a 45?
Swing it at 45.
I swing how it's supposed to be swung.
That's how they train, right?
Yes.
And did you try to?
This,
hit one of the areas
this, they getting on my
that
nerve.
suggested that you strike?
He get both of them is getting on my nerve. That's what they doing for me.
Yes.
Which one?
Between the radial nerve and the median nerve.
Might be one person trained medically, but I'm not. Tell me where that is.
It says the radial nerve is above wrist and median nerve is top of forearm.
All right. So you hit, in other words, either from right here to right here, right?
Yes, so right arm.
Okay. And that's the only place you hit.
Yes.
Didn't strike in the head, right?
Did not.
Didn't try to hit him in the groin area or something that was going to possibly injure him, in other words.
Did not.
All right. And so on that particular evening, you at that time, and I think it's been consistent, that there was not a plan to take something like robbing this guy or something like that, right?
Right.
There's no plan to in any way take away his freedom from him to try to call out for ransom or something else, correct? Or to take him from one location to another for some illegal reason. Am I right?
Right.
And you were acting under color of law because you were a sworn officer, and to your knowledge, Mr. Bean was a sworn officer as well, right?
Right.
And to your understanding, a call out that the person had been tased, pepper sprayed is indicative that they have committed some sort of felonious act, right?
Right.
Now, at the time you changed your plea, you didn't have any knowledge about what was in his car, right?
Right.
This was before you decided to cooperate and all that stuff, well before you would have known anything about anything subsequently found in that deal, right?
Yeah, I didn't know nothing.
Right. And you didn't know anything about either substances or anything that didn't belong to him in that deal, did you?
No, I did not.
But you changed your plea sometime after your Inspectional Services Bureau and before the grand jury. In other words, when the federal grand jury came, you had already agreed to cooperate, right?
I don't remember when that change happened.
Okay. But you've been meeting and giving 302s along the way. 302s being when you meet with somebody from the Department of Justice or FBI, etc. Right?
Right.
Okay. Mr. Hagerman asked you yesterday about how long you met with him, and he said, I think about 2 hours total, right?
Yesterday?
Man, it's hot in here, and I'm getting older, and so I feel so forgive
I
me.
don't think
He
that's
asked
what
you
he
this morning.
said. I thought he said.
How long did you meet with him? And he said about 2 hours, right?
No.
How long?
I said maybe an hour.
Maybe an hour total, right?
Yes.
In preparation for this.
Correct.
Now that's in stark contrast with how long and how many times you met with DOJ, right? You gotta speak up.
I guess so.
No, you can't guess it.
Well, yes.
All right. You met with DOJ so many times that at the trial in the fall, you didn't even remember how many times you met with him. Remember that? I don't know, but a lot. That was your answer. You
Yes.
remember that?
Yes.
And You met with them, and your truth kept changing somewhat. The details kept changing. When you met with ISB, when you talked with ISB, you were asked about how many times you struck. Well, this is back in January 11th. Remember being asked, and how do you know it was ineffective? And I imagine talking about the spray. I'll go back to the question. So did you notice if the chemical agent took any effect on Mr. Nichols? You remember what your answer was?
No, I don't have it in front of me.
If I say it was ineffective, is that what you told ISB back then? Page 5 out of 21.
I said it was ineffective.
Right, that the spray.
Yes, it was ineffective.
And in other words, when you're talking to them, you indicated the fact that when you used the spray 3 times, it had no effect on Mr. Nichols, right?
Right.
And it's consistent with today. Now, you remember when you were talking with DOJ saying stuff like, you don't know the effects of it and all that?
No, I don't remember that.
Okay. But so we're good on the fact that it was ineffective.
Yes.
And we're good on the fact that you properly used your aspartame, right?
No.
Was it ineffective
All right.
because it wasn't working, or was
What's
it
the continuing
ineffective?
cooperation
I'm trying
you know?
to, because when he spread, how did he spread
Do
it?
you know whether or not you would get credit for speaking over here when you go for your sentencing hearing across the street in a few months?
Possibly, maybe.
Possibly, maybe. In other words, you expect it, right?
Yes.
All right. So, back to the question. When you say, I today think that I didn't properly use my aspartame, it changed somewhat from when you were talking to ISB back on January 11th, 2023. Because then you were definitively positive that you properly used your aspartame.
When you asked me last time, I told you, you asked me why it wasn't properly used. It's because Ms. Nichols wasn't actively resistant.
I wouldn't have asked you why. I would have told you why in my question. Because I would have had the ability to look at what your answer was right there. You indicated a why. You said because what you just said then. Say it again.
Because he wasn't actively resistant.
Right. In your statement, you actually used the term prior to anybody defining it for you as active resistance. When you were talking with ISB, you said he was actively resisting, right?
That's right, and I told you that the statement wasn't valid.
No, I don't understand that. At that point, when you were giving that statement, you weren't sitting up in a room full of 3 FBI agents, Forrest Christian at the end of the table telling you how stupid you were if you were going to not change that story. You didn't have people from the TBI at this end recording actually what was said, and you didn't have 3 other attorneys from the local AUSA office saying what would happen to you if you didn't cooperate as a witness against Tyre's Bean. You didn't have that at that time, right? When you're at ISB, you had a few people asking you questions about what
He
happened.
asked a question, Mr. Bean actually started to answer, and then just went into another question loudly, not even giving Mr. Bean a chance.
Wouldn't have been allowed to answer the question.
I would. Mr. Mills,
I'm sorry, Mr. Mills.
Mr. Mills, you changed your answer about active resistance after you initially said what active resistance was in your statement, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, active resistance does not have to be punching, does it?
No?
Does active resistance have to be kicking a person?
It's the best way I can explain. Passive resistance would be someone like laying there and not cooperating. Active resistance will be someone punching, kicking, doing that type of thing.
You saw the video earlier, right?
Yes.
You saw, and you described it, you've been asked questions about it multiple times in different hearings, that Mr. Nichols' legs were kicking while he's on the ground, right?
Oh my gosh. Did he just do that?
The video today.
I don't remember seeing that.
Did he just do that, y'all? Did he just do it? I think my child.
We're going to watch it. We're watching it at full speed. We're going to watch it at half speed. We can have audio. Well, I'll tell you what, the audio is going to be, you can turn the audio down.
Don't turn the audio down. We want to see it, hear it with the audio.
That you driving?
I want to hear it with the audio. What y'all do? Y'all want to hear it with the audio or no?
And for the sake of the record, this is being played right now at half speed.
He got his stuff going, I think, as he should. Also, he don't want to play this with the audio. Child, this is too much. Why he parked so far back? They are beating his. They are beating like child. Why would you play this? Hold on, y'all. What? Even at this speed, they are whooping his. You. This just when I gotta take a break. I had to take a break. Even at this speed, they are whooping his. You know what? It's 2 against 1. At this point, he spray him. He's like, "Ah, you can eat." Child. I would have just if it's the truth and I was lying before we came up with a story. I don't know if I would have stuck with the story either. Come on, you still attorney. He's laying on one of his arms. Take the wheel. Take the whole wheel and nothing but the wheel. That is manipulation of the body for people that don't know what we're witnessing. And they expect the people in the jurors to be stupid. That's manipulation of the body.
I didn't ask you that. I said, did you see his legs kicking at 20 and 33? Yes or no?
Girl, sir, I would stand down if I was you. That they were whooping his. You know what? And to me, he's cowering.
Right here.
That's manipulation of the body at the end when he stopped the video. Stop playing with us. Don't play with me. Like, listen.
Okay, stop. Did you see his legs kicking at that time? Yes or no?
You better.
At 20, 33, and
just
10 seconds.
tell the truth.
Yes.
All right. We're going to come back to the video.
That is manipulation of the body,
Now,
y'all.
when you talk to ISB,
That is fine.
you never said, I saw Tyre Nichols kick an officer. And that was not my question. But you saw his legs kicking, which is different than passive resistance. Yes or no?
Yes, that's different.
Right. Passive resistance. If, as an officer, you're trying to get me to stand back on the scene, murder scene. Man, that's my brother. And you say, step back, sir, we're trying to process the
I'm so
scene.
bothered.
Step back, sir, I'm trying to process the scene. I'm standing right here.
so
You do me like
bothered.
that. Is that active or is that passive?
Passive.
Right. And then you say, John Perry, I told you to get 10 steps back. And I say, no. And at that point, you say, and I say, hey, man, active or passive?
It doesn't make a difference how much talking they was doing in the video.
Next. After that.
No,
That's
what I just did, active or passive?
could be borderline active.
It doesn't make a difference.
And we ain't in a courtroom on that video, right? Yes or no?
Child.
I said right now, when I did that just then, use some judgment, right? You said that'd be more active, right?
Yes.
But right then, have I walked through a metal detector today?
Did
you walk through a metal detector today?
attorney is
All right, and I came through the same metal detector that you did. So you know I'm patted down, right? You got a good faith belief I don't have a pistol or something, right?
All right.
Had you patted down Tyre Nichols at that point?
No.
And had you seen anybody else pat down Tyre Nichols at that point?
No.
So the fact that he's actively resisting right there is based on your judgment on a 45-degree outside night where it's wet outside and after you've sprinted 80 yards to get it. Correct?
Correct.
And right then you thought it was active resistance when he's kicking in the air and moving his arms around and standing himself up and walking around. You said it clearly to ISB, that's active resistance, right?
Right.
Right.
He is child, y'all. I saw manipulation of the body. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, listen.
You were asked questions about a duty to intervene earlier, right?
Right.
And when you were asked questions about duty to intervene, was the policy read to you so that you could answer it based on the policy in front of you?
No.
All right. And have you had a chance to look at the policy in your preparation for today?
No.
But previously you've had a chance to look at the policy, right?
I can't recall.
Now approach it. Yes, sir.
Look at the sheriff in the back of him now.
You see it?
Yes.
And you see the word reasonable again.
He's like, I don't know what to think. I don't know how to look.
Yes.
I don't know what to
And
be.
it's just a line. Can you read me that policy?
I'm scared.
Any member who directly observes another member engage in dangerous or criminal conduct or abuse of a subject shall take reasonable action to intervene. A member shall immediately report to the department any violation of policies and regulations or any other improper conduct which is contrary to the policy or order or directives of the department. For sworn employees, this reporting requirement also applies to allegations of use of force not yet reported.
And your reading of that, it said it shall take reasonable action, right?
Yes.
And at that particular night, and you said eventually at the previous trial, if you got one handcuff on a person and one hand free, is that person still in danger?
Yes.
And if you're holding on to the free hand so that the person who's holding on to the cuffed hand cannot get punched in the face, so that he'll release the cuffed hand, that is a reasonable action to hold on to that hand, right?
Yes.
It's also reasonable if a person is holding on to that person to have an expectation that you're going to try to get this person down by most means that you can. You're trying to get this person, in other words, handcuffed, right?
Yes.
Because if you don't get that person handcuffed, is the attempt to arrest complete?
No.
Does the person continue to be a danger?
Yes.
And you said it before better than I can. It is difficult to put handcuffs on a person that does not want to be handcuffed, right?
Yes.
And it's, in addition to being difficult, it's even more difficult if you have run a distance of 80 yards, tackled this person, put him on the ground, and he's resisting you, right?
Right.
Sir,
You seemed a little bit tired, right?
Right.
And you had a chance to take a few breaks, right?
I'm sick of him.
In other words, out of 3 minutes during the time that they're wrestling with this person and trying to get his hands in handcuffs and all of that, you were walking away trying to get your eyes together and your breath together, right?
Right.
And during that same period of time, Mr.
His
Dean is
eyes
still
and his
trying to put
breath.
handcuffs on this person, right? And the person is not giving his hands up to be handcuffed during that time frame, is he?
Right.
And so, it takes us into a person that I haven't asked a lot about, Emmett Martin. Did anybody tell you that night that Emmett Martin is dangerous to be with on this team?
No.
Did you have a conversation with Emmett Martin about the fact that he felt homicidal?
No.
Did you have conversation telling you that Emmett Martin should not be on duty because he was having mental health issues?
I only found out all that stuff from last trial.
Right. So, in other words, January 7, 2023, 6 o'clock, you meet Flicker, right?
Yes.
Nobody briefed you on the fact that, hey man, one member on your team feels homicidal. Nobody looked you in the eye and said that, did they?
No.
Nobody had a sub-meeting, or in other words, 4 of y'all get together and say, hey guys, we got to look out because Emmett Martin's going to feel a little bit off tonight. Anybody say that?
There were, we did know he wasn't feeling himself, but we didn't know in particular that it was any mental issues.
Did you know he was going to pull Tyre Nichols over?
No.
Did you know that when he got to the scene and y'all were struggling with Tyre Nichols, that within a 12-second period he was going to hit him 3 times?
No.
And did you know the force for which he was going to hit the person while he's holding on to him?
No.
Would that have been something pretty good for him to have told y'all if you were going to struggle with him on a rainy, slippery street in the middle of January?
Yes.
That would have been some helpful information, right?
Yes.
Because while you're coughing and phlegming and spitting and getting your breathing together and your eyes burning, you could have told your co-officers, hey guys, watch out for what Emmett Martin might do while you're holding him, right?
Right.
And you never testified to the fact that you thought they were holding him so that he could get hit, right?
No.
Right. In other words, and I want to be clear on this point, you don't have anything to offer this jury about the fact that you think that these 2 men were trying to hold him up to get hit.
Well, this requires speculation with regard to the Milson gun.
No,
I mean, he can give his, if he knows, I mean, I'll allow him to answer that.
and with that, Mr. Perry, there's about 2 minutes to talk about.
If you can just rephrase it.
Yes. To Darius Bean, Justin Smith, y'all stand up.
Ooh.
One has one's arm.
Is he going to answer the question?
Yeah,
The question
yeah,
I've asked him to rephrase the question, so I'm allowed him to rephrase the question.
to my right is who? This is my right hand. Who is this?
Smith.
All right. To my left is who?
Bean.
All right. On that night, you just described the fact that they were in a struggle with Tyre Nichols, correct?
Yes.
And while they're struggling with Tyre Nichols, was he given his hands to be arrested?
No. No.
Okay. While they are holding him and trying to pull him in different directions, did they have any knowledge that you are aware of that Emmett Martin was going to hit him?
Not to my knowledge.
Right. And there's no way that they could tell that Emmett Martin was going to try to hit him and hurt him or anything like that, right?
Not to my knowledge.
Right. And it seems, even based off of today, 2 years later, that they're holding him, trying to get him into custody. That's it. Right?
Right.
Matter of fact, today, you phrased it better than I could through a question. You asked Martin, how did we even get here, right?
Yes.
How did we get to the point of arresting this man, correct?
Yes.
You only knew about the call out, correct?
Correct.
So there could not have been a plan to try to kill him, right?
Right.
And there could not have been a plan to try to kidnap him, correct?
Correct.
There definitely was no plan to try to hurt him, based on what you said. No plan to injure at all, right?
Right.
And there also, you've heard of officers robbing people, right?
Yes.
You've heard of officers doing stuff, taking money, and escorting dope boys, correct?
Yes.
To your knowledge, was there any of that type of stuff going on?
No.
Nobody under a plan to use your job or your badge inappropriately whatsoever, right?
Who's he talking?
You were not a part of a plan and had no information that these men had any sort of a plan to misuse your badge, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We want to just take a very brief recess. I can have the jury set up.
All right, so we are going to speed past that. This attorney did raise some reasonable doubt. However, I believe that when he showed the video of what was going on, there was a clear sign to me that they were beating on Mr. Nichols. I'm just being honest about what I saw. I know what they want people to see. And so I guess they're trying to just blame one officer for what, because he's, why is he yelling, Allie? Because this is not my first time seeing him. I did tell you guys that he's very, what can I say? Well, you see him, it's a bunch of theatrics. I don't think it landed the way he wanted things to land. But what he attempted to show on video, I don't think that it helped his client any. I don't think that it helped his client any. I'm just saying what I saw. I saw two officers, even without sound. You hear the officers, you see that the officers were assaulting him. That it was clear that he was screaming and hollering without sound. So my whole thing is, you can be a part of law enforcement and do your job correctly. It's when you cross the line because you think you can is the issue, and it is the problem. And they do deserve a defense. But as I stated, just because he ran one time, when I say I'm a true crime buff, I am a true crime buff. I've seen a young lady get in a police car while they were trying to arrest her, back the car up, hit an officer, ran forward, hit another officer. They never drew their weapons. I'm just saying the levels of restraint are possible. They never drew their weapons, never nothing. When I tell you, officers injured all types of nonsense, never drew a weapon. Got her into custody, she kicked the window out. She kicked the police car window out completely. So in the video, I didn't see what he's trying to say. this defense attorney, good job, like you were supposed to defend them. And any type of movement can be misconstrued as resistance, fighting back. Like he said, not necessarily. So if he was doing what you were saying, first you try to use the word fight and leave it out there, but then you had to change it, and then you want to go to a certain point. We saw him kicking. No, I saw body manipulation in the video. They were manipulating his body. I don't know if that boy. I'm gonna find out what his weight was, soaking wet. Now, if he was on some type of substance, I'm not gonna say that. No, that couldn't happen. And you never should underestimate anybody, never. But they were beating his. They was beating his behind. Period. Period. That's what I saw. I don't know what y'all saw, but that's what I saw. And I got my good glasses on. So let's see what this judge is talking about, because he's, they're just coming back. Let's go.
Who were the defendants in the back when you stood up, and so as they were walking out, they had asked if we could just have who they were. So, Mr. Butler, when you go through your questions, we can just reintroduce.
They want to know. Is it
Right, they just wanted to know who the individual, they couldn't remember who they were.
Okay.
The defendants,
Well, he had finished
ex-cops,
the process.
defendants.
Right, so if you just, we'll just do each of the defendants, just so they can make all of it.
That's what you get with theatrics.
All right, we can go ahead and bring him.
Jurors, enter the courtroom, Your Honor.
It didn't land how you wanted to. All that theatrics, and they asking for clarification. Yeah. All of the theatrics, all of the screaming and hollering for no reason at all, and it did not land with the jury. The jury wanted to know who was the two that you had
There may have been a
stated.
question, and I know while Mr. Perry was doing his cross-examination, he had a couple of the defendants stand up. I'm just going to go through with the defendants. If I can have Mr. Smith, if I can have you stand. This is Mr. Justin Smith. Thanks for your time, Steve. Next to him, Mr. Bean, if you can stand. This is Mr. Dedarius Bean. Thanks for your sit down. And Mr. Haley. This is Mr. Demetrius Haley. All right, Mr. Stengel, if you'd like to proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Mills. Mike Stengel, representing Demetrius Haley.
Good afternoon.
How you speak up.
Good afternoon.
You started by telling this jury that you've spent maybe an hour with Mr. Hagerman before your testimony today, correct?
Correct.
However, you have spent several hours with other members of the district attorney's office, correct?
Correct.
And that's including Ms. Headley here, correct?
I believe she was there a few times.
Okay, you met with her on multiple occasions, correct?
Correct.
And you spent many hours meeting with federal prosecutors, correct?
Correct.
And federal agents, FBI agents, correct?
Correct.
Sometimes TBI agents were there, correct?
Correct.
And sometimes you were meeting with prosecutors, both federal and state prosecutors, correct?
Correct.
And you have been interviewed by law enforcement and prosecutors many times since January of 2023, correct?
Correct.
And all of those meetings with prosecutors or law enforcement officers were after you signed a proffer agreement, correct? Let me ask you this way. Prior to you being interviewed by any prosecutor or agent, you met with your lawyer, Mr. Ballin, correct?
Correct.
And you and Mr. Ballin signed written agreements before any interviews, correct?
Correct.
And the essence of those agreements was that they couldn't use what you told them against you if it was determined to be truthful, correct?
I believe so. That works.
I'm going to pass you two documents and ask if you recognize them.
The thing in a nutshell is, listen,
Okay.
Do you recognize those two documents?
Yes, time.
And you signed both of them, correct?
Yes.
And you signed them on January 20th of 2023, correct?
Yes.
And that, it was after that that you had your first meeting with prosecutors and agents, correct?
Yeah, I think this was the first meeting.
Okay. You signed those at that first meeting, the beginning of that first meeting, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I ask that those be marked the next two numbered exhibits.
We will show the proper, two-page proper agreement with the Shelby County DA's office as Exhibit 12. And we will show the three-page proper agreement with the Department of Justice as Exhibit 13.
So your first meeting cooperating with law enforcement was January 20th, 2023, correct?
Yes.
Which would have been not quite 2 weeks after your encounter with Tyre Nichols on January 7th of 2023, correct?
Correct.
And indeed, that occurred before you were charged with any crime in connection with your encounter with Mr. Nichols, correct?
I don't remember the day the charges came.
It was certainly before any federal, the state charges came several months before the federal charges, correct?
Yes.
And it was certainly before the federal charges, correct?
Yes.
You just don't recall whether you had been charged with murder, kidnapping, aggravated assault, oppression, and misconduct yet, correct?
Correct.
You were talking about EMTs and paramedics earlier today on direct. You recall that?
Yes.
What's the difference between an EMT and a paramedic?
I have no idea.
You were calling all of the fire department personnel that you saw at Castlegate and Bear Creek paramedics, correct?
Yes.
And do you know what a paramedic is?
No.
And were you using that as a generic term?
Yes.
Okay. Generic Memphis Fire Department medical personnel, correct?
Correct.
Now, we saw earlier that there was a picture of you and other Scorpion officers taken on January 8th at the office at Flickr, correct?
Yes.
There's been some discussion about Flickr. Is that the Scorpion unit headquarters in January 2023?
Yes.
Who took those pictures, security squad or TBI?
I think it was TBI.
But there were several pictures of you taken that night, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to pass forward and ask you if you recognize those pictures, Mr. Mills.
Okay, yes.
What are those pictures of?
Me and my equipment I had on.
And that's you and the equipment you had on when you encountered Mr. Nichols at Castlegate and Bear Creek, January 7th, 2023, correct?
Yes.
And those pictures were taken before your shift was over by TBI, correct?
Correct.
We're going to ask that you mark the next number exhibit collectively.
Show these 6 photos of Mr. Mills as Exhibit 14.
Mr. Mills, when you were at the academy, part of your training was proper use of force, correct?
Correct.
And you learned about the Memphis Police Department force continuum policy, correct?
Correct.
And it had 7 levels, correct?
I don't remember it now. If I see it, I can tell you.
Okay.
It's been a while.
I'm going to document that.
Okay, 7.
Do you recognize those 2 pages as part of the Memphis Police Department policy and procedures that were in effect and governed your conduct and all police officers in January of 2023?
Yes.
Okay. I'd ask that that be marked the next numbered exhibit before I forget. you would tell this jury, starting from the lowest level to the highest level, what the police department's use of force will continue on this.
All right. Level 1, physical presence. Level 2, verbal warnings. Level 3, verbal commands. Level 4, chemical agents. Level 5, empty hands control, soft and hard. Level 6, impact weapons, less lethal weapons, MPD K9. And level 7, deadly force.
Okay? Am I correct that an asp baton is an impact weapon?
Yes, it is.
So it would fall at level 6 on that continuum, correct?
Yes.
The level immediately below deadly force.
Yes.
Okay? And what level is empty hands control?
5.
Okay, so below the impact weapons is empty hands control, correct?
Correct.
And there's two categories of empty hands control, soft and hard,
Yes.
correct? And hard includes kicks, correct?
Oh, it's right here.
Okay, if you would read hard empty hands control techniques from the manual.
Hard empty hand techniques. This subcategory includes kicks, punches, or other striking techniques such as brachial stun or other strikes to key motor points that have moderate chance of injury.
And those are techniques that were trained at the academy, correct?
Correct?
And approved for use by Memphis police officers on duty in the correct situation.
Yes.
Soft hands control. What is it?
Soft empty hand techniques. This subcategory includes escort controls, touch pressure points, wrist or arm locks, and takedown techniques that have a minimum chance of injury.
Again, taught at the academy, correct?
Correct?
Approved for use by Memphis police officers on duty
Correct?
in the correct situation.
Yes.
Soft hands control would include getting somebody out of the car.
Yes.
Okay. You've seen video of Tyre Nichols being removed from the car
Yes.
at Ross and Reigns, correct?
Correct?
Now, you weren't there, correct?
Correct?
So your only knowledge of it is after January 7th, 2023, you've seen that video lots of times, correct?
Correct?
And that's soft hands control getting him out of the car, correct?
Correct?
And soft hands control, according to the policy, includes taking him to the ground in the appropriate situation.
Correct?
Now, you were on Scorpion Team 1, January 7th, 2023, correct?
Correct?
And you've been with that unit since its creation by the Chief of Police, correct?
Correct?
As a matter of fact, you were with its predecessor before Scorpion was created, the CAP Team, Criminal Apprehension.
Correct?
And on January 7th, 2023, two-man car with Beam, correct?
Yes. Correct?
You're driving, he's in passenger seat.
Correct?
And that's when you hear call out over the Scorpion channel, got a man running in pepper spray tased, running southbound on Ross, correct?
I think it was just a general precinct channel, but that's what I heard.
Okay, dispatch.
Yeah, it was-
Put it out to everybody in the area, correct?
No, the officer, we were using the precinct's radio frequency, not a private one.
Okay. So, as a Scorpion officer, you had the ability to switch between whatever precinct you're in at that time or your encrypted channel, correct?
Correct?
Okay. So you believe that it was over the precinct channel that you heard the call out?
Yes.
Okay. And at that time, you somewhere, Kirby Meadows, a couple of miles away, with Bean, and you had somebody you intended to arrest in the backseat of the car.
Correct?
You let him out, let him on his way, and you and Bean responded to this call out, correct?
Correct?
And that was proper policing following your training.
Correct?
Officer needs help, suspect running, been pepper sprayed and tased, tells you there's been a fight with an officer, correct?
Correct?
And you were trained to respond to something like that. Help your fellow officer, correct?
Correct?
And that's what you did.
Correct?
Followed your training at that moment.
At that moment?
And at that moment, following your training was good policing.
Correct?
Within a few minutes, you get to Ross Road, correct?
Correct?
And first you drive through the neighborhood a little bit.
Yes.
And you, some neighborhood off of Ross, correct?
Correct?
And you're south of Rains, correct?
Yes.
You never went north of Rains on Ross as part of responding to this call.
I don't believe so.
Okay. After all, the call was running southbound on Ross from Rains, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And You take a left turn off of Ross and drive through a neighborhood.
Yes.
You don't see anything that you connect with this suspect you're looking for, correct?
Correct.
And neither does he.
Correct.
You end up back on Ross Road driving south, correct?
Yes.
And in your rear view mirror, you see somebody that meets the general description of the suspect walking southbound on Ross, wiping his face, correct?
Yes.
And you make a U-turn.
Correct.
With that U-turn, you're on Ross, now facing north, just north of what turns out to be Castlegate Lane, correct?
Yes.
Windows rolled out. The windows were initially up because it was chilly out, right?
Right.
Windows rolled down, some combination of you and me, hey, to the guy you'd seen in the rearview mirror, correct?
Correct.
And he takes off running.
Yes.
He pops out of the car, takes off running after him.
Yes.
You park the car, get out, go back, lock the car, and take off running.
Yes.
And end up going up Castlegate Lane, correct?
Yes.
You're not sure where you are. Somebody's out on the street, in the yard, whether it's their yard or not. Somebody's in the yard. What street is this? What street is this? You're asking them, correct?
Yes.
And you get on the radio. You learn it's Castlegate Lane. You get on the radio. You tell dispatch, we've got him. We're chasing him on foot, Ross and Castlegate. Correct?
Correct.
And again, you're engaged in good policing at this point.
Yes.
Responding to a call for a suspect who's fled from officers at Ross and Rains, correct?
Yes.
And now he's fled from you and Bean at Ross and Castlegate.
Correct.
You get, what, roughly a block up Castlegate is Bear Creek.
Yes.
You get there, Smith, Bean, and this person who's run from you and Bean are on the ground. Correct?
Yes.
And at that point, good policing is detaining this person, correct?
Yes.
You had a lawful basis to detain him.
Yes.
Right as you arrived, you sprayed. Very shortly after, you sprayed, correct?
Yes.
You sprayed twice, correct?
3 times.
Well, the first 2 times you sprayed, you said the spray was ineffective, correct?
Correct.
And at about that time, Emmett Martin from Scorpion 1 arrives, correct?
Correct.
He arrived before you sprayed the 3rd time, correct?
Correct.
Because as a matter of fact, he was impacted somewhat when you sprayed yourself, correct?
Yes. I learned it when I watched the video.
Okay. So you didn't notice that when you were on the scene?
No.
Okay. 3rd time you sprayed, you got yourself, correct?
Correct.
And it was effective, wasn't it?
Effective on me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Caused your eyes to burn, face to burn, difficulty breathing, correct?
Yes.
And over the next several minutes, I think you testified, it would reactivate, it would sort of flare up.
Yes.
Okay. And that's something you were trained in the academy would happen with pepper spray, correct?
Yes.
Smith and Bean were the first 2 officers to encounter Nichols at Castlegate and Bear Creek, correct?
Yes.
You were the 3rd one.
Yes.
When you got there, you used pepper spray 3 times, correct?
Yes.
You used your asp baton on his arm, correct?
Yes.
Martin was the 4th officer there, correct?
Yes.
And twice he kicked Mr. Nichols in the head when he got there, correct?
Yes. I learned from the video.
You learned that when you watched the video, correct?
Yes.
You were unaware of that at the time you were at Castlegate and Bear Creek, right?
Correct.
You couldn't intervene in his first 2 kicks, could you?
No.
Why not?
I didn't know about it.
So it's not reasonable to intervene if you don't know there's something to intervene about, correct?
Correct.
And it's not reasonable to expect intervention if you're not there, correct?
Correct.
Now, After your use of the ask baton, while you were at Castlegate and Bear Creek, you are aware that Martin punches Mr. Nichols in the head, correct?
Correct.
Some punches you heard and others you saw at the time, correct?
Correct.
And since then, you have seen the punches, all of the punches, by Martin on video, correct?
Yes.
All of Martin's punches to Mr. Nichols' head occurred before Mr. Haley got to Castlegate and Bear Creek. Do you agree?
Yes.
When did you learn who this suspect at Castlegate and Bear Creek was?
Give me his name.
His name.
When everything was over, he was handcuffed.
After he was handcuffed,
When the paramedics on the scene.
when the medical people, Memphis Fire Department is there, his wallet is gotten by law enforcement in the fire department, correct?
Oh, I don't remember how.
But it's from his wallet that people learned his name on the scene, correct?
Okay. I don't know how he got it, but I don't know how it was received, but I got information that was Tyre Nichols.
Okay. Was there any plan before the traffic stop at Rawson Rains that you're aware of to find, detain, and injure a Tyre Nichols?
No.
To your knowledge, did any members of the Scorpion team have knowledge of who was driving the blue Nissan Sentra that was stopped at Rawson Rains before he was handcuffed and detained at Castlegate and Bear Creek?
Not to my knowledge.
That was after he was. But was it? Wouldn't that be after he got his behind? Like, yeah, maybe the squad was known in the area,
At some point,
and I need to find out what was found in the
immediate
car.
Supervisor Lieutenant Dwayne Smith arrived, correct?
Yes.
And
That's what I need.
you
I
and
need to.
Lieutenant Dwayne Smith walked from Castlegate and Bear Creek to Nichols's house, correct?
Yes.
Lieutenant Smith knocked on the door and spoke to the people who answered, correct?
Yes.
You stood back somewhat but had your body worn camera running, correct?
Yes.
And that was the purpose of you going with him, correct?
Yes.
Initially, the people who answered the door denied knowing who Tyre Nichols was, correct?
Yes.
And after being told he was under arrest, the man and woman identified themselves as his mother and father, correct?
I'm trying to remember how it played out.
Would watching the video help refresh your recollection?
Yes.
This is so yeah. This is hard for me. This is hard for me, because I'm gonna take this off the stand. I don't know how long they're gonna be up there, but I'm gonna take this off the stage to fast forward it because we're almost done here. This is very hard for me. I still don't believe that anyone, regardless as to what is considered, should, I mean, and I understand the young man ran, but I believe that, I mean, it's bothering me. I was not going to, I remember when this happened. Yeah, so well, I need to go back and look at this again. But this is very hard for me. So I don't like when it's very hard, and I know that they have to defend, but it's just hard for me to watch. I'll just say that it's hard for me to watch them, get their job done and having to. Mr. Nichols, of course, should not have ran. I mean, I don't know what the circumstances were, but I'm just talking about I need to go back and now, sometimes like I have a little time because I need to look in there, see what they found in the car, We don't know whether there was a reason why if he had interaction with these, people before, with these cops before, or whatever. I just know that what we listened to yesterday, during yesterday's live, was difficult to listen. And that was when the first two cops approached him, and he's like, I live right there, I'm just trying to get home. Like I said, I was listening. Shout out to Ali for taking over, and while I had to run. But I definitely need to go and look now and refresh my own recollection, because I just get so upset. Like, I've worked in law enforcement, and having a badge does not give you the right to form your own squads and all this other stuff. And especially, I guess, if you're getting praised by the people at the top, from what I am understanding a little bit. I want to be clear and do my due diligence, but that's what it sounds like the prosecution was alleging when they came out. And then also the last attorney, you alluded to the same thing. Like, this was coming from the top. Like, all of this praise was coming from the top, right? So I'm gonna have to do my due diligence. So this is bothering me. Bothering me greatly. Do they make house calls normally when someone is arrested?
Play a portion of your valuable time.
It doesn't make a difference what his parents say. Do they make house calls normally when somebody gets arrested? Y'all, if you want to replay, leave it in the chat. Because am I right or not, Ali? Are they making a house call? Is that what I just heard? To let the family know that he got arrested? Maybe I misheard. Maybe I misunderstood. Let's just see. Because right now, if they are making a house call to tell the family that that Tyre Nichols was arrested, this is not a good video to show either. Because when do they make house calls? To let the parents know when somebody has passed away, and it's normally not made by two police officers, right? But maybe I heard wrong. So that's him and him. Right now, if they're making this house call just to let them know that their son got arrested, regardless as to how they responded, this is not good for the defense, in my opinion. And how they put do they still live there? You got all their business out here on the internet. To tell anyone that someone was arrested, not even a minor. They usually call, but no house calls. Yes. This is not good for the defense, baby. And if they, like I said, if it was, they normally have detectives go out and say, and notify a family that someone has passed. At this point, right, he has not passed. So regardless of whether or not his parents say yes or no, like they didn't know him, this doesn't even freaking matter. Before I get, more upset than what I am, let's listen. Because is that what you heard, Ali? Because that's what I heard. They were going to tell him that Tyre got mad. I've never seen this before. Whose bright idea was this?
Memphis police?
Is this protocol? Okay, that's what I thought I heard. I never heard no ish like this. I would say I don't. So, what the fuck? What? Y'all didn't believe he lived there? This is not good for the defense. We got this guy in custody. He said this is address. Is this part of what they do in Memphis? Not good. So that clears it up that they did show up there to say he was in custody. But for what? When you the prosecution is left, because when do they start making house calls like that?
Hold on, I'll withdraw that. It started at 20:57:35, and it ended.
Yo, I'm blown away. I'm flabbergasted.
57:33.
A grown man.
Officer Mills' body worn camera.
That is laughable.
Now, on the evening of January 7th, 2023, after leaving the Wells' residence with your lieutenant, Lieutenant Dwayne Smith, you reported to him that you did everything by the book, correct?
Yes.
And
So
when
the
you made that
lieutenant-
statement, you were referring to your conduct and Memphis police officers.
Wait, y'all. I'm gonna just say this. So what was the point of the visit? Now you got the lieutenant with you. Now it's not the officer being. It's the lieutenant in him. Were you looking for something to pin on this man a lie? Okay, he said this is his address, but is he lying? Let's see if these people even know him there. What this for the defense? This didn't do anything for them. I just wanted to make sure that I heard what I heard correctly. Now they got my blink rate going. I've never heard of them. And Allie works in with juveniles, right? If I'm remembering correctly, or even with the fact of her even working with a they don't even send officers to your house to tell you that your juvenile child is in custody. Child, I don't know.
Officer, Scorpion Team 1's conduct.
Hold on. I don't know.
Did I say me or we did everything by the book?
We can speak up.
Did I say me or we did everything by the book? I don't remember what I said exactly. That's what I'm asking you.
Well, they play a different section of this body-worn camera. And this is your Mills' body-worn camera beginning at 21:04:03.
Hold on, y'all. I'll be back on screen in 1 second.
Was that your voice?
So that's my voice, yes.
The video ends at 21.
We still
Yes, I
didn't
said
hear
it.
whether he said we or me, and regardless, as was that the book
You
by
said
the
we did
book,
everything by the book,
going
correct?
to these people's house by the book.
Yes.
What were you telling Lieutenant Dwayne Smith at that time?
That everything was okay, but I knew it wasn't.
Okay. When you were telling him everything was okay, as you sit here now, you're saying you lied to him, correct?
Correct.
That's what
When
that's
you were
what he
telling him
said,
everything was
Fred.
okay on January 7th, 2023, what
That's
were you
what he
referring to?
said.
What was in it? It was your
Hey,
conduct
AOBO.
as
Hey,
escalated in dealing with Tyre
AOBO.
Nichols, correct?
Correct.
And it was your fellow officers' conduct.
I
as escalated in
cannot.
Bear Creek, dealing with Tyre Nichols, correct?
Correct.
And that covered all of the force. When you were talking about the entire interaction with Tyre Nichols at Castle
I
Gate
would
and Bear
I would
Creek on
absolutely
evening
not
January 7th,
answer that
2023.
question. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
And Mr. Haley was there arrived several minutes after you did, correct?
Yes.
I would
arrived after
absolutely not.
Mr. Nichols was initially engaged by Justin Smith and Tadarius Beatty, correct?
Correct.
I would
And he
absolutely
arrived
not.
after you got there, because you were the third officer.
Not.
Correct.
And he arrived
Absolutely
after you
not.
used the pepper spray all 3 times, correct?
Correct.
And he
LBD,
arrived
what's
after you
up?
used the ask baton, correct?
Correct.
And he arrived after Emmett Martin punched Nichols in the head 5 times,
They did
correct?
show up at
Correct.
this trial. Yes.
And have you seen video afterwards?
And
He
I'm not,
arrived
AOBD,
after
I'm not
Mr.
even covering the
Atherton
whole
says
trial.
Emmett
Hey,
Martin
yo.
soccer kicked him in the head and kicked him in the
Not
second
even
time, correct?
covering the whole trial. Yo, this, I just want to know when do
You
police
did
start
not
making
see
house calls
Demetrius Haley use
to tell
any force
people that
on
they
Tyre
have
Nichols
their
at the scene, correct?
have a
Correct.
loved one in custody. When did that start?
Now,
If you're minor, they call.
after these agreements with both state prosecutors and federal
And as the
prosecutors
guardian,
to
you go now.
help
Some of
them
these
to
guardians
cooperate,
be like, go. You know
met
what?
with them several
Good
times,
keep.
correct?
Correct.
I'm
And over the
anyway.
next several months, from January of 2023, at first meeting, January 20th,
But I just don't
2023,
understand how this is gonna. This is
until
helping the defense.
November
None of
1st
the both videos
of
that they show.
2023, you were charged here in state court in this case, correct?
Yes.
And then you were charged in federal court
Yeah.
with 4 charges over there, correct?
We don't care about none of that.
And
His
as a
big,
result
his
of all of
big ass
these
head
interviews-
need to go on too.
Pursuant to these agreements, to cooperate with
All
law
of
enforcement,
them.
federal and state, anytime they ask, meet with them and talk, correct?
Correct.
You did work out 2 plea agreements, one for the federal case and one for the state case, correct?
Correct.
And as a matter of fact, in federal court, you have formally entered a guilty plea, correct?
Correct.
I'm going to approach your honor.
This has got to be the most craziest thing that I've heard.
Okay.
You recognize
minute.
the document, correct?
Correct.
What is it?
It's a memorandum of plea agreement.
It's your written plea agreement over in federal court, correct?
Correct.
And
Yeah,
you
he got
signed it,
15
right?
years
That's
in
your signature.
feds.
Yes.
And pursuant to that
Whatever
agreement,
he getting over here is
on
going to be
November
concurrent,
7th,
AOBD.
2023,
It's
you
going to
pled
run
guilty
concurrent.
to
This
2
is
charges
bull
in federal
crap.
court, correct?
Correct.
And one charge that
But-
you pled guilty to was violating Tyre Nichols' civil rights resulting in his death, correct?
Correct.
Count 1 of the indictment.
Correct.
You pled guilty to that. And you also pled guilty to another count, essentially conspiracy to obstruct justice or cover it up, correct?
Correct.
That's what you
Well,
did. That's what they
that in mind
did.
as the next number.
He did that.
Any objection?
No objection.
And that's what he
A
did.
3-page guilty plea of Mr. Mills in federal court.
But his fat ass had lied at first.
And that
Child.
agreement, let me see if you agree with these parts of that agreement. Number 1, you agree to continue to cooperate with prosecutors, correct?
Yes.
Both state prosecutors and federal prosecutors, correct?
Yes.
And you agree to testify if, against Demetrius Haley and anybody else, if you're asked to, both in federal court and in state court, correct?
Yes.
And you did testify in federal court, correct?
Yes.
Spent 3 days on the stand?
Yes.
And count 1, violating Tyre Nichols' civil rights resulting in his death, that you pled guilty to, carries up to life in prison, correct?
Yes.
And with that agreement, the federal government has said, agrees, that if they believe you told
No
the truth,
objection from
they will
the
recommend a sentence of 15 years
prosecution?
or less, correct?
Remember, he
Correct.
made
And
sure
you
he
can ask
said it
for
wasn't
any
the
sentence below
government.
15 years.
Correct.
And as a matter of fact, they might recommend less than 15 years, correct?
Correct.
They
Supervisor.
haven't told you what they're going to recommend, have they?
No.
Nope.
That's not going to be determined until after you testify in this case, correct?
Correct.
Whenever I go to sentencing hearing.
Okay.
Correct.
No parole in the federal system, correct?
Oh, I don't know.
You weren't told whether there was parole when you pled guilty?
Can't recall.
See my attorney about that. Listen, his fat ass head need to do some time in jail. Even though he listen, he lied, he conspired, he covered up, did some other extra shit.
Indulgence. Yes, sir.
Now you didn't go. They didn't say at the door. Oh, your son is in a hospital with tubes and stuff running all over the place. Yes, that's what they said. They went there to see if they could get information. This is all I can draw from this. That was really his address. Because he said, I'm trying to get home. I live right up there. I'm just trying to get home.
Being put under oath.
That didn't look like an area where the people was hanging on the
You
corner
recall
to
being
me.
told what the possible penalty for your convictions.
I need to see what he had in the car and why would you even
You were
hold
told
it?
it could be up to life in prison, correct?
Correct.
And not more than up to a $250,000 fine, correct?
I don't remember.
You remember that you faced up to life imprisonment for violating his civil rights resulting in death.
Yes.
And you recall the court telling you, and do you understand that under the federal system, parole has been abolished, so there's no getting out early, regardless of what the custodial sentence may be on parole?
It was said to me, yes, I heard it.
You heard it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Now, as it's been gone over earlier,
his big old
that
head.
15-year business is
They already done told
federal
him. Listen,
prosecutors'
you get up here and say
commitment as far
what
as
we
the
need you to say, but he
recommendation,
lied. I
I will
still
not go over.
he lied in the
15 years
beginning
or less, depending on how they feel your testimony.
on the red.
Correct.
And at the same time, you were pleading guilty in federal court. You had reached an agreement with the Shelby County District Attorney's Office to plead guilty in this case, correct?
Correct.
And your memorandum of understanding is the written agreement you had with the state, correct?
Correct.
It's been made an exhibit here today, correct?
Yes.
If you need it to help answer questions, if you need to refer it, let me know, okay?
Okay.
Is it a fair assessment that once you're done with your cooperation, you'll be sentenced in
But
federal
his head
court,
that
correct?
big when he got arrested. I'm gonna have to go back and look at those
And-
pictures too.
The federal judge will determine the sentence after hearing from the federal prosecutors and your lawyer and you, correct?
Correct.
And then after you receive that sentence, you'll come back to this court and plead guilty under this written agreement, correct?
Correct.
You don't even know what you're gonna plead guilty to yet, do you?
The charges. The criminal charges.
All of the criminal charges?
Don't know yet.
Okay, you don't know what you're gonna plead guilty to, right?
No.
But you're gonna plead guilty to something and get a sentence the same as the federal sentence, correct?
Correct.
And your state sentence will be the same as the federal sentence, right? That's your understanding.
Yes.
And your state sentence will be served at the same time as the federal sentence.
Concurrent.
Correct.
And it will be
Concurrent,
served
not
in
consecutive.
the Federal Bureau of Prisons or on federal probation, or whatever the federal judge determines, correct?
Yeah, I heard
Correct.
it right. He either
So every
supervised.
day of the federal sentence that goes by and you complete, you're completing a day of the state sentence the same day, correct?
Correct.
So the two sentences at the
I
same
see,
time,
I was-
just like they were one, correct?
Correct.
It
So,
was playing, but
you
I
can stay-
probably was.
You essentially get a pass on this case, correct?
Thank you, Allie.
Well, how much more punishment do you get in the state
I'm
case?
gonna have to like
Then
go
the
back
federal
and
sentence.
review when you took over because you know how you know what
More
happened.
charges on you.
More charges, but not more time, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
The federal prosecutor and the state prosecutor living up to these written agreements and making their recommendations depends on their satisfaction with your testimony in both cases, correct?
Y'all keep repeating this. This
Neither
part
one.
makes
Has told you they've got any problem with your testimony over in federal court, correct?
I haven't spoken with him since.
Your lawyers never told you there's been a problem, correct?
Correct.
You have no indication that the feds are not satisfied and not going to live up to that recommendation of 15 years or less, correct?
Correct.
But it's on, listen, it's on video. I don't think that this guy should get a break because he didn't come forth initially. He just was the first one to say, hey, look,
My client, Your Honor? Yes, sir.
and not to his defense, because I'm not going to say nothing to his defense. He didn't see some of the things that was on the video. And I guess yesterday when they that's what they said, and that's what, when the testimony we watched yesterday happened, that's what happened. But do I think that he should get off easy? I want y'all to sound off in the comments. Like, tell me what y'all think. Should he get this deal? I definitely think that he needs to do some time in jail. So they are going up to the bench. So let's take this. I'm going to take this off to speed it up past, because I think this is almost over for this. But I stand by what I said yesterday before we watched any parts of it, right? I'm glad that what he's offering basically is, he really is not saying any, like, he's really not telling anything. Everything is on video, and the video that they showed today was damning. With no sound, I saw you clearly. I saw the two officers, Bean and Smith, whooping his on that video. That's what I saw. That's it, and that's all. In the story, what I saw him was trying to cower in. Oh, you can see that he was trying to cower, and then the body manipulation is what this attorney over here is talking about. You saw him kicking, right? You saw his feet moving. Come on, stop playing, stop mother sucking playing. I said sucking, not the other word, YouTube. I didn't say the F-bomb, okay? Y'all, AOBD, you are absolutely right. Welcome. Thank you for stopping in, AOBD. This has got my blood boiling. And to be honest with you, I remember this case when it happened, because it just happened in 2023. To be honest with you, yesterday, like, yeah, a little time, let me go over this mofo that now he done flipped. Let's hear his testimony, and now we're listening to the cross today, which is almost over, because another attorney is coming up. This thing got my blood boiling. To hear the young man in the video, like, I didn't do anything. I'm trying to get home. Like, what do you got? Like, I mean, and I get it. The easiest thing they tell you to do to make it home safe, which is crazy to me that you have to have these conversations, is to just comply. Right? I get it. I got all that. But not all. We do need officers, but we need officers that are doing their job correctly. But you have some of these officers in some towns that have put together different crews, if you will, or these forces that go out and harass people and beat people. And when I grew up, they had one in the hour area, and boy, it was nothing more than a game. I'm just saying, they stole more than a little bit, and there was one officer that was the leader of the ish, and I just was like, wow, I'm just a little girl coming up, and I know this stuff. It's the area that I'm growing up in, which shows you don't have to be a product of the area or the environment. My parents always made sure, but neither here nor there. There was, and I personally know that this is a thing, because growing up in the area where I grew up, it was a thing. And I mean, the whole city used to be like, oh, here he comes. He was up to no good. He probably paid his house off with y'all. Let me tell you, it is what it is. But it is a thing. So from what it seems like, this little crew here was going around something that you can't even do if you are a realtor. It is against the law to steer somebody that's trying to purchase a home away from an area that they're interested in looking in. So, in this, with these officers, it's like targeting an area, but the area that they just showed us, unless it's just like all quiet at night and we just radical during the day, like raw. Normally that's when the stuff come out at night. It looked like it was a cul-de-sac. I'm about to go back and look at that again just to observe that. My emotions was just all over the place because while y'all there, I needed to hear where they just dared to tell them that the young man was in custody. So that's what I was paying attention for. But I'm looking at and you normally, the best time to go to a neighborhood when you're a realtor, for me, I would take clients out during the day. Listen, you need to come back through here at night. Do a drive-by at night. If you like what you see, then go on ahead and let's talk about it. But I want you to, you have so many days so you can put in a bid, and if you win a contract, you have 3 days to say, okay, we back out without owing anything or having your deposit returned to you. So that's just the state that I live in. And so if a client wanted a house really, really bad, I would always tell them, even if it was in a nice neighborhood, ride through that thing at night when they turn the street lights off, and so that you get a better feel of the neighborhood when at nighttime. It's just something that I know a lot of realtors do it as well. I know Survivor Speaks. I've done 50,000. Yeah. I think my real estate license. Somebody gonna be so mad at me because they told me, "Girl, go ahead and so that you don't have to take the test over again." It's 8:00. I would have to jam in my continuing education credits by 12 a.m. Listen, I don't know. It's just But let's get into the video. Let's go home. Yeah, this is good. This got my whole head hurts. And what he gonna get up? What the scene says about
Over the
that?
last however many years,
What he about to say?
quite a bit, got to know each other pretty well, and none of this is going to be a surprise for you because I've already asked you probably 90% of the questions they're going to be asking.
It looks like
Okay?
a
No trick questions. In fact, I'm probably going to bore you about the tears as you read from your earlier testimony. All right? You testified under oath, subject to perjury.
Can I get a cranberry juice and vodka,
Right?
please?
You were under oath when you testified, so therefore you'd be subject to perjury if you lied, right? Okay. Like I said a moment ago, there are no trick questions here, okay?
Oh, they're trick
You and I have
questions.
already spent quite a bit of time together asking questions and answering questions. So
Oh,
I'm just trying to give you a heads up.
there's trick questions.
By the way,
Stay
when
woke.
asked-
You need to go to jail,
when asked
though.
by Mr. Stingle, would you like to see some videos in order to determine whether or not that refresh your recollection? The first question was about whether or not the family denied knowing Mr. Tyre Nichols when they played that.
Who
video.
cares?
But I did not hear Mr. Stingle ask you, does that refresh your recollection?
Yes, it does.
Did it refresh your recollection?
Yes, it did.
And was Mr. Stingle's question correct? That is, initially they said they didn't know who he was.
Yes.
Oh, what?
And secondly, you were asked.
That's why you had my
whether or
door.
not you did
But
everything
that's
by the
not.
book, or we did everything by the book when you were talking with Lieutenant Smith. And again, he showed you video clips. So I'm formally asking you, did
Yeah.
that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Did you tell your lieutenant you
I'm
did everything
still
by the
trying to
book?
figure out what does this all
Now,
mean.
harken back to one time before when I examined you. We went through the internal affairs statement, and then your agreement, your statements given to the FBI, and we went through all those statements. And at one point, I don't know if it was me that asked you, maybe one of the lawyers, but you said, hey, I lied. And I asked you, why did you lie? And that was the IED statement, the internal affairs statement that you gave. Do you remember me asking you that?
I remember asking that.
Let me see if this helps. And your answer was, I lied because I needed this job and I needed to keep my health insurance. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So,
Yeah, that's
when you
why.
testified with me, that's why you explained it, why you would lie. Is that right?
Yes.
And is that still your position?
Yes.
Now, you may or may not recall from the
That's
report,
what he
I tend to
said,
do things in
Fred.
chapters. I try to keep myself organized. And so the first area that I'm going to be asking a question about are answers that you gave Mr. Heiderman during that examination. Okay? So I'm going to stick to that. I'm trying to focus on that first. Okay? Now, your memorandum of understanding agreement that you signed with District Attorney Mulroy said that you're going to cooperate, testify truthfully regarding the death of Tyre Nichols and its cover-up. Remember that phrase in there? It's cover-up.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Heiderman read you the memorandum, and I heard him ask, and you say yes, it's regarding the death of Tyre Nichols and its cover-up.
Yes.
Did you cover up anything surrounding the Tyre Nichols death? Did you? Not anybody else right now. Did you cover anything up regarding the Tyre Nichols death? That calls for yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Justin Smith Stand up one more time, Justin. That man right there, you sit down. Justin, a couple years ago, many years ago, wrecked one of his cars. And then he was afraid to drive. He didn't like driving. And he knew you were a good driver. So you two rode together in a car for over 2 years, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because you were a good driver, and Justin was not that comfortable with his own driving. Isn't that a fair statement?
Correct.
By the way, he told me something. Tell me if this is true. This is not from the trial. He said he used to make fun of him a little bit, poke at him a little bit, about the fact that he was blind as a bat if he had his glasses off or it was nighttime. You used to kind of pick at him about how blind he was without his glasses. Do you recall that?
Yeah, can't see.
Yeah, he's blind. You agree he's blind as a bat without his glasses on, right?
Yes.
Now, you rode with Justin Smith for that 2-year period, 8 hour, at minimum, 8 hour shifts for 2 years, and you two became close. Is that right?
Yes.
And remember, you and I spent a lot of time talking about that
Yes.
in trial. And it's because you and Justin shared many of the same values as it relates to how you treat a suspect, how you treat an arrestee. You remember us talking about that?
Yes.
Both you and he are tough, but you are compassionate. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
And would you still say that about Justin Smith, that he is a tough but compassionate cop?
Yes.
Is he brave? Was he brave? When you rode with him, was he brave?
Yes.
Was he honest?
Yes.
Was he honorable?
Yes.
Those two different things, honest and honorable, right?
Yes.
You knew him so well, you actually knew his wife. Did you not? You met his wife, and I mean, y'all didn't socialize about dance or anything, but you knew his wife.
Yes.
And he knew yours, right?
I think we probably heard each other when talking on the phone.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you, sir. Now, going back to that memorandum of understanding about cover-up, in all the time you knew Justin Smith has never covered up a single thing in his career, has he?
Not that I know.
You're the only guy I've got on the stand, so I got to ask you.
Oh, I'm saying no, not that I know.
In fact, you know of the Charles White incident, aren't you? Charles White incident. That ring a bell? Do you know who Charles White is? He was a white cop
Yes.
on Scorpion. Had some weird looking hairdo. Big old boy. White guy.
Yes.
Y'all had a juvenile in custody over there in Flicker Street. He was handcuffed. He was giving some lip to somebody. And Charles White slapped him across the mouth, didn't he?
Yes, I heard about it. I was off work that day.
And what you heard about was a squadron full of officers.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mills doesn't even, he wasn't there for this?
It's his reputation
I
testimony.
would, I would object to specific, we get permission.
He asked him about something that he was not presidente for. He was not presidente. Like, I think that this is like going to be the end of this. But how is he trying to ask him for some? How is he trying to ask some questions for something that he wasn't presidente for? Yeah. So this is about. Let me see what they're going to say. What did they decide to do? So actually, I'm gonna just bring it back over because they are, I mean, at the bench, but then the video ends here for from the station that we're watching it from. And so if it is ending here, then we're going to end it here. It's about been here a while. I want you guys to make sure you hit the like button. Let's just see it to the end. And yeah, looks like they ended here. So that's all that we're going to watch today. I'm going to see if there is more to that video. And then I'll schedule it because I want to hear the testimony of this officer that is on the stand. My thoughts are still my thoughts. I do believe that he deserves to, do time. He did participate in this crime. That's, my opinion. Did Mr. Nichols, should he have ran? No, he should not. We don't know the circumstances surrounding why they stopped him. Will we ever get the truth? I'm just not sure. They've lied. They've covered up. Their stories have changed. Things have changed. I just don't think that we'll ever get the truth. I don't think that the whole truth, whatever we can't see on video, will be told from the defendant that's from the star witness that's on the stand. He's one of the defendants because he is still going to get time. His head is big, his face is punch worthy. I just don't think that he should be let off that easy, for deciding that I'm going to get switched to the other side because you didn't say it was the right thing to do, but even though he did not have he wasn't there for the initial stop when Mr. Nichols ran. You were there the second time, and upon it looks like you approaching, and you see the pepper spray. At the time you sprayed him, they are beating Mr. Nichols behind, y'all, from the video that we saw today. I mean, if you're on the replay crew, drop in the comments what you think you saw from the video that they slowed down. Thank you for slowing it down, because it looks like they were beating him. He was screaming like ow and cowering, which the cops are always going to use that to their advantage. He's resisting. We were threatened. He looked like he was reaching for one of our weapons. They're always going to use those things. Always. So that's why people are saying, if you want to make it home safe, just comply. But then some people are like, no, I'm not. I'm tired of complying when you're pulling me over for nothing. You're doing this, you're doing that. And that video that the other attorney showed before this, I'm not understanding unless Memphis has. That is something that they have on the record. We make house calls for people that we arrest. Not saying that we had to take them to the emergency. Like, I don't know what they said on the rest of the tape because they didn't play it. But what else did y'all say that because from what they played, you was just saying now we have him in custody. He said that this was his address. What happened to, no, we have him in custody and he's in the hospital because he fought us, and now he laying here with all types of tools coming out of the side of his head and out his mouth and his nose. And they had to do CPR, and we don't know whether he was going to make it, and he didn't. What happened to all of that? Did they say all of that? And then this big head mofo on talking about, we did everything by the book. We did everything by the book. But you did, I do everything by the book. Go to jail. Lay the jail on top of him, please, with the rest of them. That survivor speaks opinion, and I'm sticking to it. This Ben that's on the stand, lock him up. Why should he get to be home on supervised release, enjoying his family, and Mr. Nichols' family can't enjoy him? If he committed a crime, arrest him. Like all that, like, I don't know, there's some story that's supposed to be a backstory, something about a girl, and this has something to do with a girl, and that's why I gotta dig further into this to see if that, like, because okay, was this, I heard something about it, but now I gotta go and visit it, and I might have to just plug this trial into my ear and keep up with it. Because this is right now, from what we're looking at from this officer, from his testimony, from the cross, from the bullshit that they showing on the screen, is unacceptable to me already. And all these ninjas, I said ninjas, should go to jail. Every last one of their asses. 15 years. 15 years. He's looking at 15 years or less in a federal prison. He hasn't been sentenced yet. He's already testified. And whatever he gets in the state is going to run concurrent. But there is a possibility that he can still get life. Ain't no way in the heck this band don't know what his charges are in the state yet. Like, come on, y'all. They're not going to come out and say this stuff in open court. They're not going to let y'all know either. His attorney probably like, listen, what is going on here? Like, it's always a back goddamn on drop. Okay, I exhaled. Under the jail, he should go. All right, so we're going to end the show because I have to run and do what I do, which is mothering. And in the show, as I normally do, bringing awareness that men get breast cancer too, because of the stigma surrounding the word breast. We have changed the word to peck and or chest cancer over here on the Survivor Speaks channel. We're going to continue to try to break and end the negative, thinking about the word breast, because men get breast cancer too. Okay, that's what we want y'all to know. And to all of my ladies, Please make sure that you're getting your mammograms, filling on your boobies, making sure that you are all right. All right. Don't you dare let anybody come to your house and disturb the peace that passes all understanding. This probably won't be the last time that you're going to hear about this case from me, but y'all please lock it in on Saturday. I got to go on ahead and make the thumbnail for that, the sit down part 2 conversation with the happily angry attorney, Moontook's co-counsel from the YSL trial. It's going to be right here. Lock in the time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, and have them come on over here on the YouTube channel. Maybe that'll be YouTube only. I'll advertise it over there on the X, but I don't know. Maybe I'll just stream over here, and that's going to be it. I think that's what I did last time, but that was a really good interview. I need to repurpose and put back up because the camera quality sucked. So Survivor Speaks and feel free to donate to the show. Ciao. I put it back in here. Y'all see the little subtle changes that I made, but I'll see y'all later. Thank y'all for coming and rocking out with me. And hit that like button if you're coming in on the replay. Hit the like button. Thank you and good night. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.
Survivor Speaks is the name at the end of the day. People love me or hate me, I don't care either way. Breast cancer busted through like a leaf in the night. A cancer's ass was knocked out before the end of the fight. A champion coming through, knocking everything out. Just if you see, I do nothing for clout. Just like cancer, I'll let nothing take me out. So be respectful when you step foot inside of my house. Or be clear to have your ass escorted on out. So hop up out the bushes, wrap your feet, take a seat, and get comfortable and chill with your girl. Survivor Speaks, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Who, what? I'm Survivor Speaks. What time is it? What time is it? It's time for you to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you get a notification each and every time that I go live. Yeah.